All right, I want to start this lesson by giving all glory, honor, and praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekah, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles and teachers and wise men of great Billstone. And I learned this truth from through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Salutations out to the elect. All right, before I start the video, let's get some context. So the heading says consequences of disobedience. Who was disobedient? You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you Israelites. Because of your disobedience to the Lord and not keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments, not keeping his ways, you see, not doing what he set our fathers up to do, you were put under the curses, you see, and there was a consequences for that. There were consequences for that. So let's read Deuteronomy 28:15. It says, "And it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments and all his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and shall overtake thee." And that's what happened. That's the consequences for our disobedience, the curses. And let's get to the point of this video that I have that I'm going to play. All right, this is 28, Deuteronomy 28:28. It says, "The Lord shall smite thee with madness, blindness, and astonishment of heart. And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness. And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore. And no man shall save thee." You see? And that's how a lot of you so-called blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans are now. You see? You're still in the land of your captivity. You're smitten with madness, blindness, and astonishment of heart. You grow up at noonday because you're in a confused, in a low state, and you don't prosper in your ways because you're part of a system that only oppresses you and that sees you as being less than these Edomites, these other nations, especially these Edomites. Let's look up these phrases. As a matter of fact, let's read this in the NLT, in the AMP, and see what it says. All right, it says, "The Lord will strike you with madness, blindness, and panic." Let's see what it says in AMP. It says, "The Lord will strike you with madness and with blindness and with bewilderment of heart and mind." You see? So that's what the Lord did to a lot of our people. This is the curse that a lot of our people are under, you see, that they have to go throughout their lives living like, you see. Let's get this. As a matter of fact, let's look up the term madness. It says madness.
Strong's H 7697. Shigaon. Shigaon.
It says craziness, furious, madness. So a lot of you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you Israelites, you're going to seem crazy to people, you see, because the Lord is going to smite you with that craziness. So you're going to do things that are not, that the normal person wouldn't do. You're going to seem like you're just bugged out. All right, let's look up this phrase, astonishment of heart, which we know the word heart goes back to the Hebrew word lob, which means your mind. So astonishment of mind, let's see what it means. Bewilderment, you see? Bewilderment. All right, let's see. Bewilderment. Let's look up the term bewilderment. Let's see. Let's look up the term bewilderment. Salakia. Let's see. Bewilderment. It says bewilderment is a noun that means a deep state of confusion, puzzlement, or being completely mystified when you cannot understand or make sense of something. So a deep state of confusion. And that's what a lot of our people are in, because of the curses. They're under a deep state of confusion and madness. So let's give you an example of that in this video.
Specific way, they're trying to solve the 2018 murder of a young developmentally disabled woman. Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark Winnie is live at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Mark, that...
So she was mentally disabled, you see? A so-called black woman being mentally disabled. That's that astonishment of heart, you see?
Is the last place investigators can confirm the victim's whereabouts when she was alive.
Yeah, GBI agent says on February 4th, 2018, Shaniqua Sullivan, a trusting young woman with developmental disabilities, did not have enough money on her Breeze card to catch Marta home from her janitorial job at Atlanta's airport. And the agent and her partner in this case of the Newton County Sheriff's Office think someone picked her up, probably outside the North Terminal.
She was angelic. She was very funny, a very loving and giving spirit. I think about her all the time.
Her grandmother, Celesta Sebrum, says Shaniqua Sullivan, size-wise, was tiny, but she had a big heart.
You could be having a bad day and she would say something just uplifting.
How much would it mean for somebody watching this to call in with the information that could break this case?
It would mean the world to me because I just want justice for my baby.
Shaniqua Sullivan was 23 years old, 4'11" and less than 100 pounds. About the time Marta's security video captured images of her on February 4th, 2018 at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, where she did janitorial work. The last time investigators can confirm her whereabouts when she was alive, before a fisherman found her unclothed body in the Yellow River in Newton County on March 3rd of that year, says Georgia Bureau of Investigation agent Amelia Maddox.
I don't see how she goes from Hartsfield-Jackson to Newton County on her own.
And Newton County Sheriff's Corporal Joshua Hicks. Do you have any doubt she was murdered?
No.
Ms. Sebrum says she was Shaniqua's guardian most of her granddaughter's life, and Shaniqua was diagnosed with developmental disabilities, childlike in her thinking, joyful and trusting, maybe too trusting.
She was, we believe, targeted, tricked into getting in a car or some type of transportation that day, and had something obviously terrible happen to her.
Agent Maddox says the GBI joined the Newton County Sheriff's Office in the investigation in 2024, and she and Corporal Hicks are asking people who took photos or video at the airport the afternoon of February 4th, 2018, which happened to be Super Bowl Sunday, to provide them so investigators can search for clues in the background. Corporal Hicks and Agent Maddox say authorities have not recovered Ms. Sullivan's clothing either.
She wore a...
Did you hear all that stuff that they said about her? Let's go back.
She was, we believe, targeted, tricked into getting in a car.
County Sheriff's Corporal Joshua Hicks. Do you have any doubt she was murdered?
No.
Work. The last time investigators can confirm her whereabouts when she was alive, before a fisherman found her unclothed body in the Yellow River in Newton County on March 3rd of that year, says Georgia Bureau of Investigation agent Amelia Maddox.
I don't see how she goes from Hartsfield-Jackson to Newton County on her own.
And Newton County Sheriff's Corporal Joshua Hicks. Do you have any doubt she was murdered?
No.
Ms. Sebrum says she was Shaniqua's guardian most of her granddaughter's life, and Shaniqua was diagnosed with developmental disabilities, childlike in her thinking, joyful and trusting, maybe too trusting.
Developmental disabilities and childlike thinking, you see? That goes back to the curses. And the Lord shall, let's get it. Let's go back. Deuteronomy. Salakia. That's that bewilderment. The Lord shall smite thee with madness, blindness, and astonishment of heart. You see? And that's what happens. And it says, thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness. That's what happened. She was in a confused state. And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. You see what happened to her? Thou shalt only be oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. You see? So she was unalive. You see? The curses overwhelmed her. The curses of Deuteronomy. You see?
She was, we believe, targeted, tricked into getting in a car or some type of transportation that day, and had something obviously terrible happen to her.
Agent Maddox says the GBI joined the Newton County Sheriff's Office in the investigation in 2024, and she and Corporal Hicks are asking people who took photos or video at the airport the afternoon of February 4th, 2018, which happened to be Super Bowl Sunday, to provide them so investigators can search for clues in the background. Corporal Hicks and Agent Maddox say authorities have not recovered Ms. Sullivan's clothing either.
She wore a burgundy smock with the ABM logo. That was their standard uniform, with black pants.
Agent Maddox says she hopes the killer has been arrogant enough to let something slip to someone with a conscience.
This is somebody who was a predator. This is somebody who was a monster, who went after a very fragile, innocent person who was very trusting.
Shaniqua's aunt, Lily Sebrum.
In due time, he's going to get his justice one way or the other. If not through us, through God. He or she is going to have to pay for what they did.
I get my strength from God, because I couldn't have did it. Came this far on my own strength. God has kept me standing this long.
And they're right. Let's get that. Let's get that. They're absolutely right. The recompense is going to come from the Lord. Genesis 9:6, it says, whosoever sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed, for he is the image of God. For in the image of God made he man, you see? So that's righteous judgment. The Lord is going to bring judgment upon that person that unalived her. If a person unalived her, if somebody did unalive her, the Lord is going to bring judgment upon that person.
And Celeste Sebrum told us that in 2006, her daughter, Shaniqua's mother, was also murdered, and that killer was caught. Now, the GBI says tipsters can call the GBI tip line at 1-800-597-TIPS, can submit tips online at the GBI website, or use the See Something, Send Something mobile app, or for a possible reward, call Crime Stoppers of Greater Atlanta. And all these different ways can be accessed anonymously. Reporting live at the airport, Mark Winnie, Channel 2 Action News.
All right, I'll end the lesson here.
This is how easy it is to buy shares of
all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Shalom.